Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And welcome everybody. This is Dan French. It's the French Workbench podcast on Tuesday. We got a full studio of people here giving their insight. If you guys, this is the first time you guys have tuned in, this is the most real and behind the scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs through on-job experience here in Las Vegas. And we're streaming live from Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guy that comes here every Tuesday. He's loyal. He's here. He's got great insight. Love his laugh. Mr. Matt Shield, what's up, buddy?
Good
How are
evening.
you?
I'm well, thank you, Dan. How's it going?
Good, man. Anything new happen with you, buddy?
Anything new? Not particularly. Got some listings coming up. You know, just trying to fight the good fight and avoid mayhem and conflict in real estate.
Dude, tell me, real estate's just kind of up and down right now, right? It's just been all over the place, it seems like.
I don't know.
A little bit.
I think for me, it's like calmed down a bit.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, it's still like shortage of homes. Glad the temperatures have gone down. So it's actually really nice to go out and work. At the moment. To go out, well, work as in like go outside and show homes and meet people, as opposed to like being in sweltering furnace temperatures.
For you guys that don't know Matt Shield, he's been on here quite a bit. How long you been in real estate, Matt? Just kind of give us an insight.
Gosh, I think I've had my license since 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years.
2012.
Yeah, nearly 10 years.
So that was that like right before the crash?
That was right after.
Or right after the crash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you've seen this market.
I've seen a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know? But hopefully it's gonna. I hope it's like flattening out a bit and it's calmed down. But we'll see when the stats come in from September.
Yeah.
You know?
It's big, man. I mean, you look at Vegas right now, and Vegas has got a lot of things happening. I feel, though, that we're really starting to slow down, and maybe it's the right time to go out and look for a house because things start to slow down. You might have a real shot. People aren't really focused on buying a home.
Definitely, if you're like, with the market not rising, if you're short on cash to get it done, now's a good time to get it done. But, you know, it's if the payment makes sense, you know, and you need shelter, go get a home.
Go get it. We also got Mr. Rich Salas. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Thanks for coming back. What's going on with you today? You got anything new that happened this last week?
Yeah, actually, I do. I got a couple things. So that condo that I gave a plug for last week in North Las Vegas, I did sell it.
Cool.
So I mean, it's in escrow. I mean, of course, it hasn't sold yet,
Nice.
but it's in escrow. So we got a nice, strong offer. It was, came in 5 above list. Of course, subject to the appraisal. We'll see how that goes. But I was happy about that. It didn't take long. I knew it wasn't going to take long to sell, but it went pretty quickly. So that's going in escrow. Hopefully it'll close in about a month or so.
Sure. So you're a real estate and you do also an attorney. You're an attorney,
I'm
right?
An attorney also.
Kind of let everybody know because you've been on here a few times too. Let everybody know what you do and as far as what is the percentage of work that you do with both? I mean, is it you lean more towards attorney work or more towards real estate?
I mean, I would say I'm more of a full-time attorney and a part-time realtor.
Okay.
The reason I even became a realtor was that years ago during the big crash, the law office that I do work for now, we ended up doing a lot of short sales and things like that. And so we had we had a couple in-house realtors that just ended up working for us for a few years while that kind of worked itself out. But we do a lot of probates. And so, we had a couple paralegals that were also realtors. And over the years, it would just work out that like basically just by working there, we'd probably give each of them, at least, 4 or 5 sales a year.
Yeah.
And it would come a lot with people who it's like, well, my mom died. She lived in this house. I'm from Wisconsin. I don't know anyone in Las Vegas. Can you help me find a realtor?
Right.
And it'd be like, well, of course. So basically, when the last person in our office who had a realtor's license left us, it was kind of this gap. And I realized, well, I could get my real estate license and pick them up. So I did. I did that about 5 years ago. And I get about 4 or 5 sales a year, and then maybe I pick one up from a friend or a family member. So it's more of a part-time thing, but I get between maybe 4 or 6 a year.
Yeah.
It just depends on that. But it's a nice, brings some nice extra cash in.
Yeah,
and sometimes it provides a one-stop shop for our clients for our probates, because that's a big part of our practice is our probates. And when a lot of people have, family members that they've left to deal with their estate, but
Absolutely.
live in another state.
What's this hat you're wearing, man? I'm curious. What is that?
So,
I
all
like
right.
it.
So I was in Utah a few weeks ago, and there's this little town in Utah called Kanab. And in Kanab, they have this place called Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, and it's like one of the world's largest animal sanctuaries. And basically, they're pretty well known and famous. And they'll take pretty much, any animal that they can and try and, give it a good place to live and, be taken care of until it passes away. And it's interestingly, it's one of like the most common charities that we have people come
That's
into
cool.
our
So
office and
that's
make
cool.
a gift to in their wills. So we went up to go visit a family friend who lives nearby, and then we went and saw it. So it was pretty cool.
Awesome,
So
man.
it's a good place. It's a really good
Kanab
place.
is awesome.
Yeah. So
it
we
was really
also
pretty.
have
It's really pretty.
Nikki Bott. What's going on? WFG title.
Just, living the dream.
Yeah. Living the dream, huh?
It's
Dude, what are
every
you
day.
thinking about real estate right now? Like, how's the vibe here in Las Vegas for housing? Because you've been in this game for a while, right?
Yeah. If that means I'm old.
Oh, no.
Looking. But, yeah, I've been doing this since 99.
99, right? So what is your role? You're with WFG title, right? What do you do there?
I'm an escrow officer.
Uh-huh.
Senior escrow officer. I guess they give us a tag.
You have to say that senior in there,
But
right?
did you get
She's
paid?
When do you get the
Senior
title of
slash-
senior? When does that happen?
You have to be doing it 15 years or longer. I thought it was like an insult when I got my business cards. I'm like, what does this mean? Like it was a joke or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
what, senior?
I have a question. Okay, so do a lot of people in our industry, because we know real estate agents do it, they take a picture and then that's like a 20-year-old picture, right? It's like they're in their 50s or 60s, but they still look like they're in their 30s.
Correct.
Do you have a lot of people that do that Like, do they, you know what I mean?
Like realtors or like other title
Just people in general, because I feel like people
Lately,
just
I
don't.
feel like people are doing more like selfies, but they're trying to make it not look like a selfie. Like they're doing this, like snap. Like that's what I feel like is happening. It's like you can see the part of like their bathroom shower curtain in the background. You know? Like I feel like that's more somebody's business card.
Yeah,
Like,
like
I'm
kind of
seeing
like
it
a,
even like
like
an
their good
email.
picture, like after like.
Yeah.
Esmeralda Lucia, what's going on?
Hi.
How
I'm
you doing
back.
today?
I'm doing good.
Anything new in your world?
Hey, I'm with one of the best escrow officers. That's a good move right there.
So let's get into why we have all these people in here and also what we're going to
gal.
talk about today. So first off, we're going to talk about the housing market. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, what are some of the options out there? They got first gen home buyers programs that are being offered or at least introduced through Congress. We want to talk about that. We're also going to talk a lot about down payment assistance. Okay, we have Nevada Housing Divisions here. Josie, she's from Nevada Housing Division. She's here. So we're going to talk to her. And we're going to talk to these title ladies over here about the changes that's going on in title and what to expect. We have this thing called flash close. And what it's making buyers and borrowers' lives a lot easier. They come into the market. They're in a contract. When it comes time to close, we all know, it's like the title company's like going to the dentist. Like you're there for an hour and a half. Each detail has to be put out. So now it's put in half the time because now you can sign a lot of your documents. A lot of my clients are doing that now, but they can sign them online. So we're going to see what is going on with title and the future of title here. So let's talk with Matt. Matt, what's happening out there in the real estate world, man? Give us some nuggets. What's going on out there, buddy?
What's going on? Well, it is pretty, it's calmed down quite a bit from earlier in the summer. I'm not really heavy on listings right now. I've only got a couple listings.
Yeah.
And they're sitting a little bit and they're more expensive.
Sure.
But it's calmed down quite a bit. For me personally anyway.
What about these like multiple offers? I was reading something that there's like 24% of people that were selling their house had at least 4 offers or more. And
Was that nationally?
That was nationally.
Yeah.
I would think the number here got to be 10, right? I mean,
it really depends. It depends like on the lower price points, like under like say $350.
Yeah.
It's pretty fast and furious. And there are a lot of people that are trying to scrape in like with FHA without extra cash. And so
is that I mean, FHA's probably gone away, right?
it's really hard to get a contract.
Yeah.
For me anyway. And I'm like, I've been beaten out a lot. A lot of homes are like slightly overpriced. There's more give and take now with like it's possible to squeeze money out of a transaction now.
Yeah.
With regard to like offering less than what the seller's asking, but I'd say it's calmed down quite a bit for me personally anyway.
Yeah. What about you, Rich? What do you got to add to that?
So I was gonna ask. I did want to ask you actually something sort of related to this, but
Sure.
as a mortgage, do you do FHA loans?
I do, but they're not a high amount. I'll be honest. I mean, because you got buyers that come in and they already know off the bat, like, okay, their realtor, the realtors I work with too, they really condition their clients, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're going to say you can't get a house, but
Right.
for the most part, it's like, you're going to be in a situation. So I don't know. I mean, for me, FHA just seems like it's really those people that first time home buyers, they don't have a shot.
Yeah, well, because like even on depending on what kind of listing I've had, I mean, there are a number of them where I don't even put FHA in the listing as an acceptable offer because it's just going to be too much trouble.
Yeah.
Either I know that the property just isn't going to qualify, or I know it's going to, or like condos, and I know that they had done this thing where they passed the spot. You could get the spot approval for condos now, where you couldn't used to do that with FHA loans.
Sure.
And I thought that might actually, start helping some of these, like people who want to buy a condo because it's a reasonable price, but you couldn't really use FHA loans on a lot of them in the past. Like even in this condo that I just sold now, I didn't see almost any FHA loans that had closed, so I just didn't even put it down because I didn't want to get into the trouble of dealing with a spot approval and it taking 20 days longer.
Right.
So, but I did sell this to a VA loan.
So are you seeing VA buyers? I see more VA buyers than I do FHA. And for
Yeah.
people, what they
Too.
don't know about VA, it's veterans, right? In
Yeah.
the county limit. Do you deal with a lot of VA buyers, Matt?
Yeah, fair amount.
Do you?
Yeah, VA's a good loan program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're out there, you guys are looking at what's going on with this market. Where do you feel like this market's headed towards the end of the year, Matt? I mean, because I know you've seen a lot.
I hope that it's just gonna like maybe be flat or creep up a little bit.
Okay.
That's my hope. I mean,
You going into 2022, do you think we're going to keep appreciating? What do you think we're going to keep slowing down or stay slowing down?
It'll either stay flat or creep up a bit.
Nothing crazy like the last
Yeah,
year
I don't
and a
want
half.
any like big fluctuations.
Rich?
But that's just what I want.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
hope
but
it does that.
do you feel
I
like
think
the-
that would be healthy.
Yeah. Do you feel that that's the market you're going to see? Like, because a lot of people think that it is going to slow down.
I think it already has, and I think that hopefully it will just creep up a little bit from here moving forward.
Right.
I hope.
You hope. Okay.
I
Rich?
think we're gonna basically stabilize and plateau for a while, and then we'll have to see how conditions start to change in 2022. They're all of the experts, quote unquote, whoever they are, they're thinking our inflation is going to last longer than they had thought it would. Our supply chains are not coming back the way they thought it would. The car chip crisis and the car sales thing is going to last now till 2024 maybe. So I do think that their interest rates, like you had said, they will probably start to go up, but maybe it won't be till March, April of 2022. But I do think there's going to be a lot of factors that kind of put pressure on things from appreciating too much for a while.
Sure.
Just because I think we're going to be in a little bit more of an extended, painful post-COVID world, as the rest of the world hasn't really gotten vaccinated the way we have, and we've got to wait for them to sort of catch up.
What about you, Nikki? Because like you're out there, you talk to a lot of realtors, right? And you see what's going on. Do a lot of realtors feel like there's panic in the market right now? Like, or do you feel that we're going to continue to have these really record numbers? Because it seemed like the market's still hot, but we are slowing down. What are the realtors that you speak with or know about?
Yeah, it's we're getting to the point now because there was super hot or multiple offers. Then it became the last month. I want to say it's kind of tapered down just a little bit, but I think we're still in the middle of COVID. So,
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, don't you feel like we're coming out of COVID, though, a little bit?
I think we are here centrally, but, I mean, we got to remember every state is different. Every region is different. I mean, Vietnam's just now, like, locking down. So, it's all a
What do you mean
domino
Vietnam's
effect.
locking down? What are you talking about?
Vietnam just got hit like we did a year and a half ago. So, they're just now in phase one
You mean
lockdown.
quarantine and all that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we still have a shipping crisis, a cargo crisis, a labor shortage. We still have so many factors that are going to, I don't know if, I mean, even as far as like ordering a free chest freezer online. I know because I happen to do that.
Sure.
I mean, that's like a 6 to 8 week window period. So, I mean, just everything has got a domino effect. So as far as predicting the market, I learned with COVID that I'm never going to predict the market correctly. So
What is the vibe you hear from other agents though? Because you deal with a lot of agents, right?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the vibe they tell you? I'm sure you got a lot of relationships.
it's across the board, but I think that it's going to stabilize. Stabilize at a high point, yeah. But I can tell you right now, if I don't buy another home, my daughter's not going to be able to afford something when she's ready to buy in 5-6 years. So
I have somebody doing that right. Actually, a few people. They're trying to get their kids to buy, and they're helping them buy a house because they feel in 5 or 6 years, maybe even 3 to 5 years,
They won't be able to.
They won't be
yeah,
able to.
There's no way she'll be priced out at whether she has because she's in college and great, good for her, but she's not going to be able to walk out with a degree time in any position unless I help her. And I mean, especially considering her standard of living, she's a little spoiled, but
Little well taken care of.
yeah, but
She's a little diva.
a little bit,
Una chiquita.
but yeah, I mean, we got to start thinking about that. So I'm working on stuff like working on her credit and stuff like with student visas and stuff like that. So we're getting that part taken care of. But I mean, I don't want to be buying a $500,000 house for my kid when she's 23 years old.
Do you feel it's going to get to that point, or
I do.
it's going? You do. So you feel that those $300,000-$400,000 homes today will not be in existence in the next, maybe say 3 to 5 years.
I absolutely do. I mean, I was the biggest projection that they were making as most recent as yesterday was that the median, and this is nationally, that the median sales price is going to be $380 within the next 3 years. So if we've got that at our median and we're Las Vegas, so we're all the way at the highest of the chart. So we could be looking at the 400s to put our kids into homes.
Do you feel it's like a perfect storm, though? Because it's like, look, you had COVID, right? Everybody wasn't doing anything. Don't you feel like it was kind of a perfect storm where all these things aligned and maybe it pushed us into a position where we had these record numbers, but they can't sustain themselves over the next few months or the next year?
Well, the other thing in reference to what, sorry, what was her name again? Nikki said, is that, like her daughter's going to be competing, like hedge funds buy homes and they look at a home, like they don't just look at the home as like renting it out. They look at it like as, what are we going to get over the next like 50, 75 years out of this house?
Right.
So, there's, it's a genuine thing where, I think the plan is for people to become renters, like, I mean, it's not the plan, but like,
No, that's the plan.
The agenda.
I think you're right.
It-
That's
it's-
the
because
agenda. They want us to all be serfs.
Listen, you heard the like New World Order. There was at the I don't know what summit it was, the global summit or something. They're like, you won't own anything and you'll be happier, sort of thing. Like that, it's very like dystopian and scary. But the reality is, there's like institutional money that is also going to drive up the cost of the 350 homes up to 500,000, because they'll look at it and be like, well, they don't just look at it like what's the rent off the mortgage. They look at it as like, well, how much income can we get off this asset over like 70 years or 50 years? Yep. And we're going to cross collateralize it, stick it in a bundle and sell it to someone. And it's just, it's going to be a very different environment.
Home ownership right now is a huge security factor, where before people were just walking away from these assets, and understandably that, they depreciated, but I'm in the same home since 2004. So I'm in a different position where I'm remodeling everything to update it, but I'd rather do that than throw money into something that's, not worth the value.
I feel that a lot of people, though, they've had enough, right? They're done. The prices of homes has gone up so high. The ones that we're going to buy, they've bought. Yeah. I'm not saying that prices of homes won't continue to try to go up, but you see a lot of prices of homes starting to be reduced. What if inflation, like you said, is a big problem? They raise interest rates. Wouldn't that have an impact on the
other thing,
the capacity?
Yeah, the other thing though is that with inflation, like people are gonna feel if it continues. And I read an article today that it's really going to become more significant, and that the Fed have like underplayed the fact that inflation's going to come in over the next couple of years.
Well, that's scary.
And so what does that mean is that, sure, you locked in a 30-year mortgage, or was it 25-year mortgage, or whatever
it is,
whatever it is, right? I mean, if you're spending like $300 to go to Smith's to get your shopping instead of spending like $150, which is, there was a time when I'd go shopping, I'd never spend more than $100. Now it's like it's $200 or $250,
right?
And then with my truck,
gas,
$60 to fill it up. Now it's $100 a pop.
Yeah,
and it's across the board. So I think we got to take into account as well that disposable income is going to go down, and affordability is going to go down because of inflation.
And I that's a good point. But then there is this other side to inflation too, and that's if inflation persists long enough, wages will have to go up, and it'll actually.
But they always lag.
They do. You're right, and that's unfortunate. In fact, that's wages in this country particularly tend to lag. But inflation over time actually devalues your debt. So I mean, if everything becomes more expensive and wages go up, and now a price, home is $600,000 instead of $400,000, but your loan's only $400,000. That $400,000 is worth a lot less than it was when you got that mortgage. But that's also like, ooh, maybe, hopefully, we'll get there. Let's. The scary thing is going to be what happens first.
I want to bring in one thing here. So let's talk a little bit with the Nevada Housing Authority.
Yes, that's
okay. Good. We got Josie Haddam from Nevada Housing Authority. I want to bring her in. So give us 1 second here, and let's see if I can get Josie in here. Josie, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for coming on. So Josie's a special guest. She's come on from the Nevada Housing Authority. She wants to talk a little bit about some of the things that they do there, and maybe some of these first-time home buyers, how they can maybe get into a house, and some of the programs, Homes for Heroes. They got teachers program. So Josie Haddam is, how long you been working for the Nevada Housing Authority, Josie?
8 years.
8 years, okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your situation. Now, we have a lot of people that are seeking out ways of trying to get into a home. Maybe they need down payment assistance. We've had down payment assistance programs in the past. So let's kind of go through the whole gamut of all these programs that you guys offer over at the Nevada Housing Authority. So let's start off with the Home is Possible program, right? Let's talk with that and see what that's about. So go ahead and introduce that part of it if you can.
Perfect. So we do have the Home is Possible program, and we do have various programs, so you do not have to be a first-time buyer. That's one of the things people don't know about our programs. We have programs where you do not have to be a first-time buyer to use it. You can currently own a home and use some of our programs as well, as long as you sell that home. But we do have the Standard Home is Possible program, which gives up to 5% in down payment assistance.
Okay.
The price on that is $548,250.
Okay.
Is the maximum purchase price, and it does offer FHA, VA, conventional loans as well on that. Maximum income does go to $105,000. So that is our Standard Home is Possible. That one's been around always. It's never been gone. But we do have also now a program for Home is Possible for our military veterans. That one's a little different. That one offers a below market interest rate to our military veterans. Now, it doesn't give any sort of down payment because a VA loan doesn't require one, but that one is also for anyone. You do not have to be a first buyer to use that program.
Right. So go ahead. Go ahead, Josie.
And also, we do have our program for teachers. Okay, so the program for teachers, that one is the best of both worlds because it gives a low market interest rate, and it also gives $7,500 in down payment assistance. That is one of the best we have because of the fact that we have a shortage in the state of Nevada, and we're trying to make sure that we get teachers to get them to recruit and to stay. It also has some of the same limits on that. Are you able to hear me? Okay.
Oh, we can hear you perfect.
Great.
Yeah. Everything's great.
Great, perfect. Those are the three programs. Now, when you say first-time buyer, we do have a program just for first-time buyers on top of regular programs where you don't have to be a first-time buyer. And that one offers a little bit of a lower interest rate, and the incomes on that are a little different. They are a little lower, but you do have a lower interest rate on that. The best thing that the Nevada Housing Division created these programs, especially for those buyers who are able to make their monthly payments, have a hard time coming up with down payment. Because that's the hardest thing. I mean, life happens, all of us, and we're on time with our, with lease. People are great with that. They just can't seem to, to put those funds together. So that's where we come in. That's where Nevada Housing steps in. Now, we are a state agency, so I'm a state employee, so I do not make any sort of commission on this. My job is to just bring awareness to the program. So I love to let people know that, because I want to know that something is out there for them. Yes, it's tough right now, and it's the best time. I'm listening to your conversation. If you're going to buy something, you've got to do it now and take advantage of programs like ours. The best thing is we are not the only program that's out there. There are many programs out there. So go out there. You can find them. You talk to your loan officers. They have the program. And we have them. So, but just get out there, find them now, because it is a little bit scary to what the conversations I'm hearing, that everything's just going up, and you got to get something now. So to get your foot in the door.
How does one get started? So, like, if you wanted to go in and say, I want to get down payment assistance, do they have a class that they have to take? There's a certain process of how this gets done, correct?
That's correct. So when you first want to get started, is you go onto our website to it's homeispossiblenv.org or HIPNV.org. That is where you will go into, and that's where you can find the participating lender, because the lender that you find is the one who's going to determine the eligibility. So none of the borrowers would apply through us in our office. They go and they find a lender. We have over 100 to pick from, and that's where they get started. The lender determines their eligibility. And the best thing is, if one of our programs does not work for the home buyer, the home buyer feels this is not for me, the best thing is that loan officer will have other programs that their company offers on top of that. So it's actually a great way to start. So that's what they would do. There is a home buyer education course that is required for them to take prior to close, and that would be within the process but they don't have to take that in order to get in contact with your loan officer. Get in contact with them now. Let them know you're interested in the program. Or anybody who's on air here, get in contact with them. Let them know you want to get started with the program, and we'll make sure that they get to a loan officer to help you out get started with the Home is Possible program. But it's it's kind of the thing where people don't know is, like, you have to remember you don't have to be a first time buyer, and you want to get in there. You want to jump on this now, because it's going it seems to be going fast from what I'm listening to here today.
Yeah. Is there a limit on how much somebody, or how much you guys would offer for a loan? I mean, obviously the county limits, and there's a misconception that people don't understand that there's a limit to how much a county will offer per program. Do you guys have a limit to your program? You might have brought this up, but I want to have people really understand that.
Okay, so for our Home is Possible, our Home is Possible for teachers, and our VA program, all of that, the limit throughout the entire state of Nevada for the purchase price of the home is $548,350. Now, you do have to stay within the limit FHA guidelines, because you are doing FHA loans, and those they have limits within each county. It is different for the FHA guidelines, and also with our we do have also the conventional loans, and those are a little different as far as what we can do with those. We have Fannie and Freddie on those, but those are limits that they put on. That we're only able to go up to a certain amount based on a county also limit. The first-time buyer program also has different limits. The best thing about that is when you get in contact with your loan officer, they'll let you know. You're going to be able to get in. There's still many condos and many homes out there that are within the reach of this program. So you're still able to get in there, and it's the best thing to jump in there now. You have a few very able people here. I mean, they sound wonderful. I bet anyone who's listening would love to work with them with this program, and then we can talk to them, we get them together, and get you started.
So, Josie, I got a question for you.
Sure.
On the teacher program, if you're a teacher and you're making, like, I don't know, $60K a year if you're lucky, if you're not in administration, can you combine your if you have a partner, can you combine their income as well?
Yes. So with the teachers program and with all of our programs, your income and your spouse's income could not exceed the $105,000.
Okay.
So yes, and they do not have. So if it's a teacher, it would have to be a full-time classroom teacher from kindergarten to 12th grade at a public school or a public charter school.
Okay.
So that's one of the teachers program. Now you do want to make sure also that yes, you can include the spouse's income. Their combined income could not exceed the $105,000, and you always have to include the spouse's income, whether they're on the loan or not.
Okay.
Hey Josie, I want to ask you about since this is a down payment assistance program, and you're talking about, I guess 5% is for most of these programs. Is there some kind of asset test about can you use these to add to some money you may already have for down payment, or does this have to be your total down payment? How does that work?
Oh, absolutely. The home buyer is able to bring in some of their own funds, and that they have to remember that the percentage, we do have different programs. It does go up to 5%, but now the 5% is based off of the loan amount. So if they bring in $20,000 to a home that's $300,000, now the loan amount, that the 5% is going to be based off of the $280,000, right? Because it's off of the loan amount if they're bringing funds in. So that's that.
So Josie, if you get 5% down payment assistance, do they get jacked on the rate?
Yeah,
What's the rate?
What's the rate? Yeah, what's the catch?
So this is where I get my bill, okay? Yes.
Sorry, that's Matt's personal.
I'm sorry, Josie. I was just implementing humor just to see what your reaction was. That was all.
Oh, okay. Well,
What's the government would never jack us ever.
No, never.
Never. No, what's the rate, please, Josie? That's my question for the teachers.
The interest rates do vary, and they are set by the Nevada Housing Division. Now, they are a little bit higher than what it is out there, that if you would get something without the down payment assistance. But one of the things that we've always done, so we've helped over 26,000 families in Nevada, because this program is for the state of Nevada only. So, yes, the interest rate is higher. So what happens if you say, okay, I don't want to use the program, I'm going to wait to save my own funds. So what's going to happen to the price at home by the time you wait to save your own funds? So, yes, it is higher. You are able to refinance into 3 years or so, but getting your foot inside the house, inside our home.
But then
you do have to be, because this is one of the reasons our program's ongoing, because it is higher, and we continue to use the extra money to, they invest it. We have funds get invested and they get put back, and that's why our program has been nonstop compared to programs who disappear once in a while or they're here, run out of funds. That's why we've been able to stick around, but we've been very successful in getting people into homes.
And the one, Josie, you said that the teachers one. There was another program that came and went. That was a real rush. Like, I had some people, and I think it was like $20 million or something was available or something. And then once it was gone, it was gone.
Yeah, I know what that was.
That was like 3 or 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, go ahead and enlighten us on that, Josie. It's a good question.
So we had that twice. So those were HOPE funds. So these were funds from the Treasury. And so what happened is that the Treasury...
is that Nevada State Treasury?
No, this is the
Federal.
United States.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a federal program.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And so they came in and they allowed us, because it wasn't something that they volunteered, because the funds were there, they were available, and we took advantage and said, hey, let's use this for down payment before the funds disappear and Nevada loses them. And that's why we only had a certain amount, and there were so many restrictions on that. It was just temporary. But in the meantime, our programs, the 4 programs I just mentioned, continued on. They were still there. They never would have. We just had funds that were designated to these certain areas. And yes, it was a first come, first serve, and we were fortunate enough to get the amount of people that we did into homes. But yes, if you did not move quickly enough, if there was an issue with anything that was going on, with the loan, then people were losing out of the funds because there was a lot of restrictions that were placed pretty much through the Treasury that we had to follow by. It was one of those bittersweets where it was a lot of people were happy and a lot of people were just devastated. So because they didn't get them or for whatever reason, loans fell out. That was a tough time. It was a tough time for our whole team because it was overwhelming to where we wish we could have had more funds. We were thankful it was there, but it wasn't easy.
So Josie,
Right.
another question for you is
Yes.
on the teacher program, what's the minimum credit score on that teacher program, please?
So for the teachers program, that is a minimum credit score of 660.
660.
And if you're
Okay.
60. And if you're a former veteran and you're a teacher, you can take advantage of that program with a 640 credit score.
Oh wow.
What about for the home is possible and first time home buyer?
So for the standard home is possible program is also a 640 credit score. For the first time buyer program, they are asking for a 660 credit score for the first time buyer program.
I did want to ask you a little bit more about the interest rate thing. Are you able to give an estimate about how much higher the interest rates are with if you use one of the down payment assistance programs compared to not using one right now?
Yes. So right now, for example, we had, and I post the rates because they of course not because I choose the rates because I post them every morning. For example, our teachers program and our veterans program, they are a below market interest rate program. So they were at 2.750, this morning, and they
that's
pretty
good.
much did-
That's not bad at
That's
all.
low. That's
I'm
not.
thinking like
I take
4.
it back. That's really good. That is really good.
now, right?
What about home is possible though for people who aren't a teacher or a veteran?
So for those are a little bit higher. So the FHA are usually a little bit lower, and those were from about 4.750 today to about close to 5%. They've been creeping up.
Yeah.
They were pretty good about a few months back. Although we have our first time buyer program. So if you're a first time buyer, that interest rate on that is like in 3.8%, around that.
That's not
yes. So
Still really good.
Yeah, it's
so
not
it's
terrible.
not bad.
Hey, now when you
Yeah.
say first time home buyer, I've seen first time home buyer does not exactly mean first time home buyer sometimes. Sometimes it may mean that you haven't owned a home in the last 2 years. Does this first time home buyer have a different definition than what some people might be thinking?
Yes, for Nevada Housing Division, yes, you could not have owned a home in the past 3 years
Okay.
to use the first time buyer program. And another trick that if you ever join one of my CE classes, because I do CE classes for real estate agents, you'll find that you can use the first time buyer program in targeted areas. And in those targeted areas, you do not have to be a first time buyer. You get that lower interest rate.
Okay.
And then you're allowed to even have a little bit of a higher income because it's based off a county, and I believe that even goes to about $107,000 for for a family of 3.
It's like certain target areas they're trying to promote home buying.
So that's a big thing. And right now, I know there's plenty of homes available right there. So those people who are looking to get into homes, you want to aim for those those targeted areas. Get yourself going because and take advantage of that first time buyer program. It's excellent. You get lower interest rate. You don't have
Josie, question for
Yeah.
you. If you're a veteran and you're a teacher and you got a lot of hope as well, do you get a better discount? Do you get like more?
Do you get a better
Does
interest
it all
rate?
combine as one?
She's gonna look into that.
Josie, I have a question for you. What is the fastest closing that you guys have ever experienced in your process? Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Is
Do
it
you
3
have
weeks?
to take a special course as well?
There is no delay. The process is the same thing as any other loan. The only thing you have is like 5 additional documents, and it's really up to the loan officer. It doesn't change. It doesn't delay. We have this video of the couple who did a VA loan, and they started the beginning of the month of February, and before the end of February, they were already in their home. So it doesn't delay anything. It's the same exact process.
So it's a speedily process.
Do you have a set amount of funds to the point where you have more applicants than you're able to fund every year?
No.
No, okay.
No, we actually, our program's been ongoing. We have, for our standard, for our Home is Possible program, that one is ongoing. The one that gives up to 5%. There's a 3 3%, 4%, and 5% options. So that one has never stopped, and that's why the interest rate is where it's at, because the funds continue to get recycled. So it's through a public-private partnership. Those are not government funds. And that's why they're still there.
I got a quick question for you. Is you know how you get that 3-year period?
That's what I'm asking.
Do you have to pay that money back? Because I think a lot of people want to know, am I going to be penalized if I take this loan out? Like let's say I wanted to refinance in a year, right? Because maybe the rate's higher. You're not using one of the programs you said in the high 2s. What happens with that? Do you have to pay that money back?
Yeah, so the great thing is that let's say you get on a 3-year, it is a 3-year commitment, but every month that you're in a home, a portion of those funds is being forgiven. So let's say, let's just say $10,000. After the first year, 3,000 of that is forgiven, and then you'd owe like another, you'll still owe about 7,000 or 6,500, whatever it is. So that is a portion of whenever you stay in the home. It is prorated. A portion of it continues to be forgiven every month that you're in the home. And then after the 3 years, it just pretty much disappears. It's not a lot to ask for. The reason for that is you got to remember is they need the funds to continue to help other people. They need you to stay in there. They need you to be in there because they're helping. They've helped over 26,000 families, and they want to help more. So that is the theory behind it, and it's not a lot. It's not a lot to ask for. Most people stay in their home for about 3 years.
I mean, look, if you have no other options, why not try it, right? I mean, that's the thing is, it's tough. It's a tough market, but if you have very limited income, or say assets, and let's say your family can't gift you money, because that's how usually you get into something is family helps out. Yeah, you might take a higher rate, or you might be stuck into something for 3 years, but that could be your starting point in life, because like Matt said, you might 3-5 years. Everybody's talking here that there may not be an option for you to buy, and maybe you got to look at all your avenues, and I think this is an avenue to look at.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I want to tell you that 80%. Oops. Sorry.
That's okay.
So 80% of the people who use the Home is Possible Down Payment Assistance Program have their own funds. They had money to put down, but because it took them so long to put those funds together, they decided, I'm going to use Home is Possible. It took me way too long to put my $10,000 together. I'm going to save this for a rainy day, and I'm going to take advantage of the program. That is 80% of our borrowers who use the program. So it's okay if you have money saved and you want to put it aside and take advantage of our program. That's what 80% of the people do.
Gotcha.
Well, the thing is if anyone used your program at the beginning of the year and they bought a house for $200K, they'd be sitting on an extra $30K now anyway. So totally makes sense, Josie.
Yes, absolutely, especially with how everything is just going up so quickly now. It's just incredible to see what the value is. And if you look at your own home to what it's gone up to, what it was worth last year to what it's worth this year, it just makes sense.
You guys have any other questions for Josie? I think you've really enlightened us on a lot of topics here and a lot of information.
Well,
Nevada housing.
For me personally, I'm going to look at teachers in a new light now, especially when I'm dating. I'm like,
absolutely.
They don't know what they got in their hand.
Right. See, Matt's going to enlighten the teachers here on what's available to them.
I see a path.
He's coming in as a rescuer.
All right. Josie, how can somebody find, I guess, the Nevada Housing Authority? Obviously, you have a website. You want to go ahead and kind of introduce how somebody can get to you guys and maybe look at the idea of getting started there.
Yes, so you would want to go onto our website. So I'm going to give this the shortcut, which is hipnv.org. So if you go hipnv.org, that will take you directly to our website. So that's the HIP is for Home is Possible. nv.org. You got to be careful if you do a search for Home is Possible, because it does take you to other sites and then it takes you to different sites. So you want to go either possible nv.org, and that will take you directly onto our to our website. Once you get there, you want to go into the Homebuyer section and you want to start with Find a HIP Lender, because the loan officer that you find on our list is the one that's going to be able to help you. They're going to help determine your eligibility, and they're also gonna be the ones who give you the funds. They give you the money. They do all the work, which is nice.
Josie, I wanted to say one thing about that. I feel like I'm a hip lender. So do you think, I think somebody's going to find me because I feel hip. You know what I mean? You got to be hip.
I was going to ask if you
Like,
are.
cool.
What does HIP stand for? Home is possible, right?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I mean, when you're a hip lender, I was like, what do you know, that's me right there, you know? So let me ask you another question. You got Home at Last. You ever heard of that program?
Oh yes, Home at Last is very similar to us. Oh my gosh, they're lovely people. They do the rural areas, and they have very great programs in those areas. That's one thing about them, and not only that, they're lovely. They're lovely. We've done a lot of classes at the same time. The program's very similar, and they do a lot in the rural areas. So if you have something in rural, I have to say they are the people to go to. I love them.
Hey, you knocked it out of the park today, Rosie. Good job. Very good job.
Good job.
If you guys, thank you so much for the information. If you guys want to check her out, like you said, Nevada Housing Authority, you can find them online. Give that website one more time if you can, Josie.
Okay, so you go to hipnv.org, and your first step is to get in contact with that loan officer. I wouldn't approve you for a loan by any means, but that is where you'd be able to get in contact with the loan officer. They're going to determine your eligibility, and they're going to give you the funds.
Great work.
Great.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
Thanks, Josie.
Have a great
Thank
rest
you.
of your night, Josie.
Thank you. Bye, Josie.
That was great information,
good.
guys.
Really
You know, like
So are you a hip lender?
I'm a
Dan?
hip lender.
No, you're a
I
hip- you're-
I
no,
feel.
you're not.
I mean,
You're-
will we find your name on that list?
Matt knows. he's
You're a hip replacement lender.
hip replacement.
Hobble
You got a
off.
body part in.
Get your walker. Get out.
Get your walker. Well, I mean, did you guys know this information about this down payment? I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I knew a
some
little
of it,
bit, but I don't.
Where-
No,
was
I
good.
I knew it existed, but I
Nikki
didn't know
checked
too many
out.
of
She
those.
didn't know.
Right. He said that his hip. So let's talk a little bit, okay? So the government's coming out, and the reason why we're bringing this up, the reason why we brought Josie on is because we do know that there's programs that are trying to be introduced to help first-time home buyers. We just talked about it at the start of the show. We don't have a lot of help for these buyers, right? There's a lot. These buyers it's a big separation coming where you got people that come in with money out of state. Good luck. You know, you got 5% down and you're trying to buy a home in this market and you're scraping nickels together to get the down payment and closing costs. You might not have a shot. And so, again, if you got to go down that path, home ownership, to me, okay, people might need to rent. Maybe the timing of where they're at in life, they need to rent. But home ownership, to me, is your starting point. Most people, that's how they get that's their vehicle to get
the only
into.
way
Yeah.
most people build some wealth.
Did you
Not
guys-
wealth, but
Exactly.
like
It's like a little piggy
accumulate
bank.
some dollars.
Well,
Right.
think about today. If the median price of a home in Las Vegas is $405,000, 5% down payment assistance is over $20,000.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
That's a lot of money.
It's tough. So, you know, when you look at the situation, the government's come out and said there's $15,000 tax credit that's been imposed. They talked about as far as passing this law. They haven't done it yet. We had that back in 2007, 8, 9, I believe. It was like
They did,
8,000.
but you had to pay it back, I believe, over time.
You did have to pay it back over time, but would it ignite more people to get into a house? I mean, we already have a frenzy here in Las Vegas. I don't know if, you know, I think it's do we need more inventory, right? That's the real question. It's not really about do we have enough out there, but we're looking at all these programs. We're looking at all these people. Do they have these programs available, you know, for them to help out? And if they do, is it really going to help them getting into a house? Because let's be honest. I mean, you go up against a person that's got a couple $100,000 in the bank. They're putting 20% down. If I'm a seller, I'm probably not going to look at that down payment assistance as much, right? What do you think, Matt?
Would I look at it as an offer?
Yeah, like if you're listing a house, obviously the seller
would.
agent's going to go the highest offer for the most part.
Yeah.
But if you got somebody that's coming in
So-
conventional, they're putting down 20%, does it look a little bit more solid than saying somebody making an offer?
Here's the thing is, speaking as a listing agent, I would do what is best for the seller. And if there is like a 20% down offer, then they got a bit more liquid funds to get it done. But that's not to say that, like, you know, if it made sense for a seller, then I would take that offer for sure.
Right.
You know, but the thing is just to get in quick or get a property that's been on the market for a little bit, and that's been sitting, and then you'll get it done, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys? So you look at the same thing over here, Rich. You're talking. You're looking at a lot of these people. Do you deal with a lot of buyers that maybe don't have additional assets like that's needed in this market?
No, I haven't dealt with that too much. I mean, my buyers, the buyers I tend to work with have bad credit.
They have bad credit.
Oh
They
yeah,
have
that's another
assets.
thing. That's another
So
thing.
it's not,
So
you
when
know.
that last program came out, as speaking like professionally as an agent, I had a lot of people. People want hope. When that was it, the hope program.
Yeah, the hope
Was
program.
Yeah, that brought out a lot of hope, and so
It's free. It's almost free money.
I know,
though,
but what
you know?
I'm saying is that people always need to watch their credit. Like if they're even thinking about doing a house, like they got to plan it out so that they're not like left out in the cold when the program comes out and
Right.
their credit score is like under 6. Like I dealt with a lot of people and I just had to deliver the bad news fast that can't do anything because
Well, with these driving prices that are going up at record pace positions, right? I mean,
Yeah.
month over month, we're seeing record highs. I mean, it's not just in Vegas; it's across the country.
Across the country.
Now, you look at the situation of our county limit. Right now, it's 548,250. They're talking about this increasing, I think, to 620, 625 mark. It's not come out yet.
Clark County. Wow.
That's Clark County. That's a conventional. So now you're looking at a lot more purchasing power. A lot of lenders, what they do is they start the process early. So usually at the start of the year, you start to get all these memos that says, hey, you know what? County limits are increasing. All of a sudden, lenders and realtors are all going in a frenzy. Oh, FHA's increased, conventional's increased. Well, a lot of lenders, they start that process early, maybe end of November, maybe even the December part. And so you might even see a lot more people coming into this market because our county limit, a lot of these investors are starting to impose. They're starting to look at starting that county limit sooner than later, right? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they come out, hey, this is our county limit. Same thing, VA comes out and says, hey, you know what? We're going to follow suit. So we're starting to see that increase. I'm sure FHA is going to increase. Hopefully FHA increases to a point, though, where it's going to push people back in the market. When you're at 362, 250, that's really not a real great starting point. I hate to say it in this market.
no, it's
it's
pretty rough.
terrible.
That's why I
Not
was
with the
saying
median
with
prices
her
now.
with
Yeah.
the teacher program is that it obviously you can't really what's your mortgage payment if you make like 60 grand a year? Like, what can you afford?
depends
If you're
on
five,
What can you get qualified
that's a
for?
dang question.
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
what can
if
you
you're
get
making
qualified
$5,000
for?
a month, let's say you have no debt, be comfortable. You probably had a $300,000 loan amount.
So what's that? 1,500?
It's probably with taxes and insurance. If you're putting down the minimum, it's probably about a $2,000 to $2,200 payment.
Yeah.
So you're with nothing else. If you got no car payment, it's
Nothing.
almost to a
That's
point
half
you got to
your
have.
income.
You gotta
Almost.
cohabitate.
You got to have. Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta buddy up.
You got to play it.
Automatic.
You got to start looking around, as Matt says. Like, hey, you want to be my partner?
You know what though? If you know what though, people always talked about.
Right?
Oh, it's a whole
Sounds like you need
It's
another.
like I want to buy a house. Okay.
You got to start teaming up, man.
But I lived in California for years when the price of real estate was reasonable. I was born there in the 80s, and as prices kept going up and up and up, I think there was always this belief that, well, there's just no way that this can keep happening in these areas. But if you look at it over time, it's just gone. It's expensive in almost everywhere in the whole state. The average price of a home in LA County, or the median price, is $900-something $1,000. San Diego, it's like $700-something $1,000. And no one ever thought that would continue the way it has, but it has. And California's got some really big drawbacks on top of that. So I do kind of question if whether, that is in store for us in our long-term future. And maybe what's going to happen here is people will just have to start rethinking what they can get. And maybe it'll be like, well, okay, we're going to have to buy that house in that neighborhood that we didn't think was good enough for us. But hey, you're a contractor, we'll fix it up.
But maybe those neighborhoods will become much nicer.
Exactly. And then they'll start to become nicer.
I have a question. So you said that you do a lot of probates. What would you say now? Do you see an increase with COVID in that? Is that something where you feel like you're really busy and?
So I can say, obviously I can't say names or anything like that, but I can definitely talk about my practice, and I can say that in the last year and a half, we've had 7 probates for people who've died of COVID. And I've sold multiple homes from people who've died of COVID. We have multiple probates going on right now from people who've died of COVID.
Well, it can't just be COVID, though. It's got to be other things, too.
Oh, no,
right?
I just mean those are 7 people who died of COVID directly. You know, I mean, that's something
That's on top of other, other obviously
cancer or whatever it was.
But I do think that we've had, but you know what we have had is we've also had, I think, just a general uptick in people, because what we do, of course, is estate planning. I think maybe you did. I mean, maybe I did. I'm sorry. I think maybe I did.
That sounds shitty.
That does sound shitty. Hey, you're punny, Matt. So we do estate planning, which is wills and trusts, because that's what you want to do. Hopefully, a trust so that you can avoid going into probate. And I think we've had more calls and had more people come in because COVID and everything else got them to think about their own mortality.
Do you do classes and teach? Is that something that you
I don't personally, but maybe it's something I should start doing.
You could maybe you could do like a COVID trust.
No, but
special.
it's good marketing.
Yeah, that's true.
You could advertise like a COVID trust special.
A COVID trust.
He's a coach for rented.
So you guys are seeing this. Let's talk a little bit about this $15,000 if it is passed. Do you guys really think it's going to have an impact on this market, any market really? Because
I hope it does.
I think it does. I think
what was
great.
what was the talk of that? Sorry.
So the talk is they're trying to increase it to $15,000. We've talked about it before on the show to give a tax credit so they can use that money
to buy a house.
To buy a house. And so, I mean, look, let's be honest. I mean, if something doesn't change, the average buyer out there, I got people that are, like I said, buying homes for their kids just because of fear of the unknown. They don't know if they're going to be able to buy in 3 to 5 years. So would that actually help, or is it something that's just
I'm going to use
it's
that
for
tomorrow.
votes?
I think that's great.
I'll say something in that. So let's say that you buy a home. I mean, if you're looking at it to hold longevity, it's irrelevant what the market does, because if they're holding it, regardless of what happens, whether it goes down or up, you're holding it. So you're not. The only time an asset makes money is when you're not living in it personally, right? And either somebody's paying the mortgage or is paid off, and you're recovering from that income. So if
but
you're
it's growing
holding
wealth if you're living in it. So I mean, there's the long-term growth of the wealth, not just the income from it. Right?
Yeah, but would it push people into the market even more so? I mean, look, Vegas doesn't need the help.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I'll tell you, we got enough buyers, right, Matt? I mean, there's enough people. They want to be here. It's desirable. But in other locations, is it going to push people? Because, I mean,
tax credits always increase the behavior that
give
they're
out
trying
some more
to
money.
This is psychology.
Yeah, it's a great incentivization.
Just give it out.
But it's worked great with solar panels. A lot of people would probably not get their solar panels if they didn't get the huge tax credit that they get for it.
I mean, you get a huge
Yeah, you get a huge tax credit. So
and that's
I think this would help. This would be I think, it would help get more people into the market. But as you said, maybe that's not what we need.
well, the average buyer that I deal with right now, right, is they got money usually, right? They got extra assets. I'm not saying that everybody's got to be that way, but you got to go into it. It's like how many tools do you have in your tool belt?
Well, this is first-time home buyer, so it would limit it to.
So another thought. Sorry,
no, that's fine.
I apologize.
You keep going. You're good.
Oh no, but another thought with the tax credit is we had that before. Do you remember we had it before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that market was different because when you drove that market,
we can't handle that now. There's no way that we need more heat.
Well, I don't even if we got the heat, would it impact the market? Because what was going on last time when that happened? We had more homes to choose from, right?
It wouldn't impact it because there's scarce supply.
Yeah, we had it was 6 months supply. I think we had 18,000 homes on the market.
That would drive prices right up.
They needed inventory to go.
So
I don't think that would be a good idea, actually.
So why introduce this?
I'd want 20K.
Well, I think this isn't about getting rid of inventory. This is about increasing the percentage of home ownership now, because that I think has gone down over time, especially since the Great Recession. So while there might be a lot of homes that sold, they're being bought by hedge funds and landlords,
and that also, because if you really think about it, America is based on that American dream, right?
Right.
On a home, you get a little
Owning
white
a
picket
home.
fence.
Exactly.
And
Not anymore.
Right, and we need.
What is it now?
No, I mean
Now
it
it's high
is,
rises in
but
the club, like-
but that's
now
like
it's bread lines.
it's. I mean, that was the like boom, like post-war boomer years.
Yeah.
But now I don't think that's attainable.
But I think that's the America that we still want to believe is attainable, and maybe we're trying
anything's
to do-
attainable. What you
yeah.
believe is what you receive, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean-
maybe.
Oh, that sounded so sweet
I mean,
right
it
now.
sounds great.
Ah.
Amazing. Got a
We
tear in my eye.
got the optimism on this side and the doom and gloom over here.
Do.
Let's ask Nikki. Hey Nikki, so what do you see the average? What is the average price you see come across your desk since you do so many transactions versus what we would do? Like as an escrow officer, like what would you say the price
I'm
is?
seeing everything right now. I'm seeing mobile homes again. So
Mobile homes?
Mobile homes are
What?
going for a lot.
Mobile homes?
A
Dude,
lot.
like in the high
like 250s.
twos,
Yeah.
yeah.
High twos. Those were going for like 40K at one
Wow,
stage.
yeah.
Wow.
Like when I
Gosh
got
darn it.
got into escrow, they were like, it was probably the same exact home that was like
I've never
40,000.
sold a mobile home.
Well, when you say mobile home,
Because
you mean,
I'm so
you mean a fixed
posh.
to the ground though, as real
No,
property?
I mean a mobile. Like
Oh,
it's
wow.
mobile. If I had a big enough truck, I could probably.
like, but it
Get
came
it.
with land. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Wow,
like-
wow, that's expensive. 200,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it
it's
came
a
with
lot.
land. It came with the
Yeah.
land
Yeah.
that it's on. That's
it's
Yeah,
more
but
like,
just-
like for sale.
Yeah.
This piece of land with also a mobile home on it.
I hope it was cute.
Right?
Yeah, like-
I've sold a few off of Desert Inn over
Yeah.
the years.
no, some of them are
Yeah.
nice.
Age
Yeah.
restricted.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
they're-
I've sold a few off in the
Yeah,
years.
I know those
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of them are like a lot of them are nice.
I came close, but I
Hey,
didn't get my mobile
But I
home.
was hanging.
ones.
He was dating somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we ended up doing a few probates and trusts for this in this one
yeah.
track.
I
ended
know
up
people
selling
that
a few
lived in
different
mobiles
homes in
and they
there.
were really nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Well, you know, I mean, for an older person on a fixed income, you still get your own piece of land, and it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, we don't live in a state with tornadoes and hurricanes, so
That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
you know,
Yeah.
Safe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if it's age restricted, it's probably pretty safe.
So let's talk a little bit about title, and we'll finish up the show here because I just want to talk with Nikki Bott from WFG Title, and let's talk a little bit about your situation and what you see with buyers. Is it easier now for buyers to when they go? It's like I'm telling you, you walk down and you're going down at the end of the transaction. You know you're looking at a thick amount of paper that you got to sign, and they just cut that in half. At some point, are they going to be, showing up? Are you really going to need to show up to a title company, do you think, to sign your documents?
At some point, no.
Tell us why.
Well,
Where's this market, or where's this headed as far as title companies?
it's kind of lender specific. With the sellers, everybody kind of jumped on board once the Secretary of State established online notaries. So you can be Skyping, and they have each notary company has their own security system that they can. I don't really know how it works because I don't do the online notaries, but they have their own way of screening the validity of the people, right? So the sellers were taken care of, and it conveniently came in Nevada, like right around COVID lockdown. So if anybody was a seller and they were in Zimbabwe, we were good. We were able to close. So then the lenders were the last to come on board with, hey, this is probably technology that we should catch up on. So, because when the title companies are a little bit ahead of the lenders, that's a bad thing. So, but we've got few lenders that are starting to do like the hybrid closings, and you've
Can you explain what a hybrid closing is?
Okay, so the lender, and I'm not sure how the lender determines it because I'm not a lender, but there's, from our standpoint, when you come into a title company and you sign about 225 pages of documents, to us with the hybrid closing, the majority of those documents have already been signed online, which is like click and go, right?
Yeah.
So when you come into the title company, you're signing probably like 30 pages. And so you're in and you're out. And the exciting thing about that is that, that's just like phase 1 of like phase 2 to where we're completely online. And then, I mean, the amount
like
of time.
paperless, is that? Like
Yeah.
Paperless? Okay.
So it's hybrid. So it's like a little bit of paper and a little bit of like them going on and clicking,
Online.
which takes the pressure off of us because we're not sitting there. The reason why they come to us is because we're the third party.
Right.
So they're able to look at their own documents without somebody staring at them. Like, are you ready to go? And
Right.
at their own comfort level. So they're able to like look at their interest rate, their payment amount, what's their taxes broken down. And if they've got questions, they can go to the lender instead of us that we don't really know either.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and I'm going to kind of go over a few of them, right? Okay. And there's a lot of, and Matt has a question too. Go ahead.
Do many agents show up at closings?
No.
No?
No.
Really?
No. It would be like
Like
very
10%?
Not even.
I think
Really?
not really. It's kind of hard to put like a percentage on it.
Yeah,
It's
but
more
is it related to COVID? Is that maybe why they're not doing that? You know what I mean? Because like maybe they don't want to be in the same room.
No.
Okay.
Like you would probably see about, I don't know, like about as many agents
I would
show
say-
up.
I would say probably out of 100, like one.
I've had like
Wow.
Really?
Not a
easy.
lot.
Yeah, easy.
So is it just because they want the paycheck? Is that what you think?
It's just funny.
No, I just think that. I think that they probably, I would say the lender shows up more,
Yeah.
right? I think in my opinion.
More recently,
Yeah.
I think like last 10 years, I would say, but because somebody needs to be there with them. They don't know who we are until at the end stage.
Well, let's explain what this whole thing is. So you got a HUD statement, right? And then you got to balance with the lender. A lot of people don't understand. Like if you get into a new home, a lot of times there's fees and stuff that were not on that sheet that you're adding. They don't really understand like what a title company actually does through the process. And so kind of explain how these fees come about, like who's giving what, especially if you're dealing with a new homes builder. Like you're basically getting assigned this stuff, right? It's not something you're just coming out and saying, hey, this is all title fees. This is stuff that the builder or whatever you guys agreed on as far as the buyer and the builder, or whoever the seller is.
Right.
Kind of explain that part of it.
So like the builder or the lender, they rely on us to do the math. So I'm the keeper, I'm the third party. So I'm the all invoices come to me, all fees come to me, and I put them together basically in a fee sheet, Excel sheet type of thing, but whatever term we want to give it at whatever year. So I like to think of myself as the smartest one in the room. So
Okay.
that's why all the numbers come to me, because then I can put them together, and then we spit them back out to the buyer and say, this is how much you have to come in to close with.
When does the challenges happen though? Like you got a lot of people that are like, I didn't see that fee. Or let's say you're kind of pushing in a broker fee that wasn't put on, like let's say from a realtor, right? $4.99 wasn't there, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? I need to put $4.99 on there, and they're like, well, we didn't discuss that.
No, the challenge is when you don't hear from the broker until the fees start to come out. So it's like a 50-50. Sometimes you have good people that you work with. Sometimes you have people that don't really know. And then more often than not, you have really bad lenders in this town. So
Yeah.
Or you have somebody calling, and I'll just say it, like somebody calling like a global bank, like a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America, and then they're dealing with somebody that's in like Kansas or New Jersey, and we're here in Nevada.
And it's harder with like Wells Fargo or Bank of America.
It's like
much
our
harder.
biggest cnightmare.
Yeah, I just did a closed a probate deal last week, and Navy Federal Credit Union.
Yeah.
Freaking
Yeah, they're on our
it's,
list.
It's trying to get like, it's like trying to communicate to like a slit of, and then you want to get the information out, but no one, you're trying to like, it's just a nightmare to get any info out of them.
Yeah, like a lot of those guys, like
and they got attitude as well.
They got attitude. Well, they're all like dealing with like one like giant lending DMV.
Yeah.
So like Rocket Mortgage is great. Like they great interest rates for people, but go ahead. Good luck in this market getting your transaction closed on time.
Yeah.
I think too that a lot of people look at
That's why
just
it's
rates.
always good to call
you know what
Dan
I mean?
French.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Dan, do you go to your closings?
Because he's
Of
here.
course, I go to every closing. I'm there like Johnny on the spot. No, I don't do it.
I was like, wait,
Via Zoom.
No, actually what it is though is I do it because of COVID, but I used to go to all my signings. I did for the most part. But you look at the title situation. We're in a community property state. If you're trying to buy a home, and let's say you're somebody like Matt was saying, you're looking for a partner, but you don't want that partner on that house.
You're probably
I
talking
got
to
a
the wrong
story
person.
for you.
Yeah, I'm like, if you
I
want a
got two
story,
stories.
I'm talking to the
Every
wrong person.
time, this is a warning to the people out there. Every time there's a couple people, but one person's buying the place, but they're a couple or partners, then if the other partner makes a big deal out of getting quit claimed on the property, then usually that's a sign that they're going to split up within 12 months. Because that's happened twice.
That's a science.
And like each time, the one person's bought the property, and then you can quit claim at close of escrow or after close of escrow, and that's a dicey business. So be careful.
Yeah, but what if you
that.
can't get a loan? Like if your partner
No,
is...
because one person's buying the property, and then the other person's not paying for it or on the loan, and then they get
but then
quit
you give them
claimed
an
on.
interest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then that's always a problem in my experience.
And what should you never do?
Marry a guy named Jeff.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't know that was open.
What should you never
Don't marry a buster.
You
no.
should never do a deed without seeing an attorney first.
Yeah.
It's 100% true. I mean, let's look
What,
at
for a quit claim deed?
Even a quit claim deed.
Really?
Because a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yes,
don't actually know what the consequences of their
Yeah.
quit claim deed is going to be.
Well, we got a question right here. Maybe you can answer it. It says, "What's the easiest way to add my wife to the deed on my house?"
Well, you can
Call an
yeah,
attorney.
you can grant her an interest in the house. You can make her a joint tenant and bring her in. It's just, do you understand what that means? And
So I got a question. So in Nevada, if you're living with someone but you're not married,
yes,
is there a point when they have an interest in the home because you're living together in common law?
we don't have anything called common law marriage in Nevada.
Okay, so you don't have to
no.
worry about that
No.
ever.
No.
Yeah, but we have community property state, right?
We are a community property state, but you have to be married or have a domestic partnership to have community property rights.
But you have to be married, right?
You have to be
So if you
married
don't
or have a
marry-
domestic
If
partnership.
you're not married, you've got no worries.
If you're not married, you got no worries.
Okay,
What if
good to
you're
know.
If you
living
have
with
kids,
somebody?
though, you may owe them
Oh, yeah.
money for other reasons.
Yeah, yeah, of
So
course.
don't get
I'm
married.
just
But
talking
no.
about the real estate.
No. If you're not married and they move
So don't
in
get
with you-
no te
yeah.
cases.
No, no, and it doesn't matter if
If you got
they're
more in your partner, think about
even
that.
if they're
Sign
giving you
language.
money every month to help pay the mortgage, doesn't matter. They're
Bad
getting the
move.
benefit of living there. It's like paying rent.
Well,
So
what if you're living?
What if-
What if somebody's living with you though?
If
Like
somebody's
for
living with
like
you.
6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Isn't that like already? Hey, that's community property.
Nope.
They've been no.
Nope. If you're not married, it's not community property.
What
You have
if?
no interest in it.
What if you own
And
a
this happens to a lot of people where
Yeah.
they think, well, we were together for 20 years. He wanted me to have this, and
Eh.
it's like, did you do a will? Did you do a trust? Are you on the deed? Sorry, you've got no rights.
Yeah, just going to the kids.
So what happens though if you like, hey, somebody tries to enforce that where they're like, you know what, I was with you for 6, 7 years. They get an attorney.
That's a bad
Is there
move.
some loophole or some way to get in there to maybe
took a right
potentially,
turn.
because it is a community property state. I'm not saying that they're going to get in that way, but couldn't they have some ownership in that? What if they created it together?
No. So now the only thing that you could really do is if you bought the house together and you were on the title, and then you would have some sort of interest in it. But you can't just by being someone's significant other doesn't
Yeah.
matter, even if you helped contribute, like I said, to pay the mortgage because you were living there and you're getting the benefit of
But
it.
what
But
if-
you don't get
okay.
any. You have no.
I would say
property
negotiate
rights.
where you pay. You know, be like, okay, since
Don't
I
get
have no
married.
right-
I got a question. So what if you two people, one person owns a house, they move in together, they live with each other for like a couple years,
Yeah.
then they get married.
Then they get married. Okay.
Then how does that affect the real asset?
All right, so that gets a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
No, that does get a lot more complicated. If you own a home prior to getting married, and then you marry someone, and then everything changes, and now their income and your income are linked. And when they start, if they are helping to make the mortgage payment, if community assets are now paying the mortgage
what
payment,
would you-
it now becomes community property.
Okay, so let's say that you have your properties and you have your own, and then you.
But you still have
So can you
sorry.
like have a pre-note and be like, okay,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
I already have is mine.
Definitely.
And whatever you have is yours, and we'll just say for your kids. And
Definitely, you can
and
do
then
a
we just
prenup.
split
You
it.
can-
and
if you don't do it before you get married, you can do a postnup after you
Have a
get married.
trust.
Oh, there's a post-nup.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
can do
even
a
know
post-nup.
what's a post-nup.
It's just the same thing as a prenup.
Dad's
You
gonna
just do it
promote
after
now. Now
you
he's
just
gonna
do it
come
after
in
you
with
get
a
married.
ring.
Yeah.
My next video is about a post-nup.
It's just
series.
doing the agreement after you get married. Yeah, but no, this is
He's
like,
proposing now. He knows there's a backup.
Oh,
He's proposing with a backup plan in case it doesn't work out. Like, there's a pre-note that
I
you
learned
sign.
something new today. I didn't know there was a
We're
post-nup.
like,
yeah,
Dan's
no,
like,
they're good. they're useful for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Explain that.
So, okay. So, but there's a lot. So, community property.
I need to
covers,
protect myself.
Well, community property covers a lot of things. You know, as soon as you get married, your income now belongs half to your husband or your wife, whoever you are, and vice versa. And same thing with like when you acquire a home, there are certain things that don't become community property. You can always inherit money from your family members. Things that you owned outright yourself before marriage do not become community property unless you make it community property.
Yeah.
I know.
But you get a lot when you get married, and some of it's good and some of it's bad. I have a question.
So let's say that your partner has kids and his wife is trying to get or they get child support. And you're married to them. Does that touch your money?
His ex-wife is trying to get child support.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah. Oh no, they get it, and now you're married to this person. Does that mean that your income is tied to that, or you're like, hey, I'm cool? Like,
so I'm not 100% sure on that because that's more of a family law issue, and I'm not an expert on family law, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But I'm sure that it's a factor in when the judge looks at everything.
It is.
Well, because I'm sure when the judge looks at everything, it sees that you're married, that he's got multiple incomes, not just his, and that his standard of living isn't being fully, he's not paying for everything himself. It makes his ability to pay his child support.
Increase, you mean?
Well, I'm not saying that for sure because I'm not an expert in family law. I'm just saying I'm sure that it's a factor that would mitigate in favor of maybe increasing child support or his ability to pay child support. But don't quote me on that because I don't really do family law.
Well,
so
and it's also like to a judge's discretion too.
That is true. It's all the judges in the family court have a lot of discretion, so it's going to be up to them. And it's you'll get a different result depending on the day and the judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikki, I got a question for you. Where do you think title's headed? Do you think that, like, we know that AI isn't here, everybody's making it more streamlined. What do you think is going to happen in the future with title and how title works? I mean, a lot of people, they do stuff online now. And will you really need to have somebody? It's true.
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
Well, you're going to need somebody that's going to still make sure the documents, just like you're going to be important, just like me. I don't necessarily have to be in front of somebody to still do a loan.
That's pretty great.
It's great. And listen, companies are making it more streamlined. There's steps for everything now. You upload everything. Everything's just at your fingertips. So is title going to be the same way? Because people still drive down. They got to look at the documents. Is there going to be a point where, this is all going to be helping them out as far as they're not going to have to go to title at all? Everything's just going to be online. Maybe you got a notary in the corner and somebody's just making sure something's getting done. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think's going to happen there?
Well, I don't think we're going to keep anybody in the corner, like in case that rumor gets out.
Unless it's the naughty corner.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Get in the corner.
I don't know. I think we follow your suit, so all the lenders and stuff like that. We're not the rule makers, so.
Well, but I think people still like the human element, right? So I'm just saying, if you're going down a title, like for us, they're signing half the documents. Everything's becoming more efficient. Things are starting to get easier. At some point, like a lot of my clients, they don't even see me. Like they might see me on video, but they don't see me in person.
Once in a while, though, we'll have, because you guys do XYZ amount of loans. We do, 3-4 times that amount with or at least my unit does with escrow transactions. So, I mean, a lot of them we don't see people, we don't shake everybody's hands specifically since COVID, but you always have like those few people that are like, well, I never met so-and-so in person, and I never met so I mean, I think it's going to cater to the public, but I think like on a whole, like I know myself, I'm going to Amazon before I'm like going to go drive around and find like a specific item.
Right.
So, and I'm going to see like Amazon, can I get it in 2 days? Yes. Cool. Then I'm just ordering it versus I'm not going to be price checking or any of that stuff. So, and that's just because I'm busy and everybody seems to be busy. And that's the one theme that I know. So I think like streamlining everything is really, it's going to be, do you get like this like skosh of a percentage point less going through the guy that's like doing everything 10 times longer and harder, and you have to come into our office and present 2 forms of ID, or are you going to be online where you can click, and then go about your day? And obviously that's where like just the world in general is heading.
What are the title fees? Like what is title charge, and kind of in a very brief way, explain what it does for the client out there. A lot of people think that it's part of their closing costs, but they don't know really what they're paying for when it comes to title.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, to like make sure everybody stays awake. I mean, I guess the best way you can like go about saying is everybody always thinks you don't need like a title company until there's a problem. So a transaction will always go fine until there's a problem. So what we do is get to deliver the bad news to people and get screamed at when there is a problem, but we're there to correct the problem. So when you go to sell your home, you don't have that problem. Or you go to refinance your home, you don't have that problem. We could go into 100 to 500.
What about, what's
problems.
your favorite junk fee?
We don't have junk fees. Those got eliminated in 2010. Like,
Does that mean we're getting your escrows?
yeah, like what we don't.
What's your favorite junk food? I stumped her.
Right.
Yeah. What are you craving? Like the snowballs?
The pink ones? The pink
Like the pink or the white.
You know, you said you guys aren't the rule makers, but I have to say I kind of disagree with that because I kind of
Let's go. What do you disagree with?
Well, no, they kind of are the rule makers in a lot of ways.
We're really not, because, you know, like, for example, like, I walked in, I slept in a little bit late. My allergies been bad. Took a Benadryl last night. May or may not have had a cocktail with it, okay? So,
Okay, all right.
But slept in a little bit late, so I didn't get to the office until probably, like, 9:30. Walk in. Somebody's been emailing me since 7:22. Can we get the buyer in today at 4 to sign? I just didn't respond because I don't like to say yes or no. If we don't have documents, then there's nothing to sign. So I don't feel like that it constitutes an answer. So let's see if you can. So it's 3:16 today. So from this morning, I'm watching these emails say, well, hey, we're still waiting on this and this for the underwriter. I have no part of this email chain. So 3:16, I'm looking at this email. It takes you like 11 minutes to get into a portal and start to download documents. And that's if I'm just staring right at my screen. So lender with all the real estate agents. So I'm going to look like the jerk. Okay, the buyer is heading there right now. We're still on for 4 o'clock, right? So now we're at like 4:42. So I didn't answer. And she said, well, can you confirm? And I'm like, confirm what? You said the buyer is already heading there. So I'm not going to.
What's your breaking point? Like, when you go through this, is there a time period where it's like, all right, it's 3 o'clock, I'm ready to fight?
It's
Like I'm throwing down.
It's more personality driven, I think. You know, like
You're like, you throw the pencil, you know what I mean? You're pushing things out of the way. You're like, all right, I'm accommodating all this and nobody appreciates me. I'm out the door.
I don't think it's like a time like set. I think it's just like every 112th, like scream at or whatever is when the
title's
pencil gets
tough,
thrown.
man.
No,
You
and
got to deal with a lot of
And
BS.
what I meant is just that title has a lot of power, and I don't think maybe most lay people realize how much power title insurance has, and that there are plenty of things that might be legal under Nevada revised statutes, but if you can't get title insurance to insure it, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're customer service driven too. So I mean, I'm selling the same product that 10 of my competitors are selling, like without any differential. So the reason I've been successful in the industry is because I accommodate people. So like, am I going to make these people turn around that have no idea why they're even coming to my office to sign documents? Their lender did what they were supposed to do because they were just courteous and didn't give me a good amount of time. No, but then again, that's why people use me, because their buyer that has no idea what they're doing isn't having to turn around and go home. Because like generally speaking, our industry is not friendly women.
I got a horror story right now. So,
Well, you take it from all angles, though. I mean, like,
We do.
you know,
We do.
and then
We're very limber. We are very limber in this
Careful how
industry.
you say that.
no, I mean like the people.
right, the people.
In the industry.
It's about the people. So I got a horror story I'm going to talk about real quick. So we're going through, I had somebody that was actually getting into a loan. They never told me that they were married, didn't put married on the application. Right?
Yeah,
So they got to sign a quitclaim deed. And we get to the final time period of like, okay, we got like a week left. We're about to close. And all of a sudden we find out this guy's married, right? Well, the spouse is in another country.
Was this mine?
Which wife?
right?
I'm not married.
I swear to God,
one?
this
I think it was you.
like was this, I'm like seriously, was like the spouse in Spain or something?
No, there was a deal though that I had, and it was like they had to go to like the what is it, the
Embassy?
the embassy, and then the embassy had to like send a notary from the embassy to go have them sign. It took like a week and a half to get back. It was like one of those.
Is it Canadian?
Great.
No, they were from the Mideast.
Why were they Canadian?
Yeah, they were.
Well, they went to the embassy. You said.
Yeah, so they had to go to the. So what it was is that
They had to get a U.S. notary.
they had to get a U.S. notary
At
to
the
go
US
out.
embassy.
Yeah, at the U.S. embassy, and so it was weird because
You had
people don't
multiple
understand
wives?
why
Wow.
does look when you're signing here in Vegas, right, and you're married, you have to have your spouse sign, right?
Yeah, well, in Nevada.
Right.
Yeah.
Why
They
is
have to
that?
sign off on
Why
it.
a lot of
Yeah.
people
Because
don't know
you
that,
have
but
to
why is that?
acknowledge. You have to acknowledge one way or the other. So
And because it's community
yeah,
property state.
it's a community
Right.
property
But in
state.
the
So
Middle East, they're like, which wife?
Right.
Yeah. They're like, doesn't matter. They don't get anything.
Okay, I have a question for you, Nikki. So, like, there's some religions that they do honor multiple wives. Have you ever had we had to sign like, hey, there's 4 wives here to sign like on this quitclaim?
No, because we don't recognize that in the state law.
yeah,
think-
no.
Oh,
I dated
okay.
a guy one time that was married. I'm pretty sure twice. And
Oh, you had 2 wives?
I'm almost certain.
Well, we're
at
close
least
to
do that
Utah.
one.
Did you
Well,
guys
yeah.
did you guys both sue?
No,
Oh
no.
man, that would have been
Just
great.
walked away. Just walked away.
You guys have anything else for title? You guys have anything else for real
Keep going,
estate?
keep
You have anything else for Las Vegas?
Hey, everyone remember to file your taxes by October 15th if you're on extension. You
That's
don't
true.
Yeah, yeah.
want to get late fees and
No.
failure to file penalties. They're
Yeah.
not worth it.
Did you
Yeah.
Did you go camping last week, Matt?
I did not go camping. I got my trailer ready.
Okay.
My trailer. I got the trailer, so it's almost ready to hit the road. I got airbags.
Where
for my
you
truck.
headed, man? Where are you gonna go?
I don't know. I think I can just go wherever I like now. You know, I don't
Wherever
know.
the sunset takes you.
Exactly.
San
Like
Diego.
littlest hobo.
Canab.
You know,
Yeah,
maybe.
Go hit up the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I actually want to go to Monument Valley. I've never been there.
Okay.
and so I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be nice.
Have you ever been to Great Basin?
No.
I've heard that's like spectacular.
Esmeralda, what else you got to say about this show? Give
I
us
love
the
this show.
give us the scoop. What's
Hey,
going on
hey,
in
if
Esmeralda?
you haven't liked our show, please like it.
Subscribe
Follow
now.
us, subscribe to Dan's show, and hey, stay tuned.
Hit that
please.
like button.
Yeah, hit that
Yeah,
like
you
button.
took it right out of my mouth, just like I would say it.
See, that's because I'm always in the show.
That's right. All right, guys, we're gonna end the show. You guys have anything else to say?
Oh, if you need your taxes done or you need a will or a trust, come find me at
If you're closing an escrow, call us.
www.attorneylasvegas.com.
Absolutely, Matt. Dude, what's up, man? SEAL Team
Shield Team
Shield
6.
Team 6.
Shield Team 6.
How does somebody get a hold of you, Matt? Because you're a realtor out here. You're hitting the trenches. Get a hold of Matt, man. He's a guy that's always out and about. What's going on?
What's going on? What do you mean, what's going on?
What's
Give me your
happening out there?
website. Where to contact you?
Oh, Shield Team 6 on Instagram. Verstar followed me. Thank you very much, Verstar.
Verstar. Look at
Verstar.
you, man. See,
Yeah.
you're getting people.
You know, mattshield.com or mattshield.com.
You know what's crazy too is Matt's a likable guy. Like if I was gonna pick a realtor, I could be out there just hanging out. We'd probably go get some drinks, talk the shit. You know what I mean? We hang
That's
out.
what you do. Quit lying,
I
acting
must
like you
say, I do bring a little bit of fun to the
Absolutely,
process,
man.
But without any without like any lack of service. Like I'm still a
Yeah.
ninja,
Well,
but I'm funny.
Yeah, I mean, you're a likable person. You know, and I was talking to
But
somebody.
also,
you gotta
I
be
can
likable.
be a bit of a dick as well.
That's right.
But it's very polite.
Yeah.
And people don't really understand what I'm saying to them until it sinks in, and then boom, it's too late. They've already taken a psychological sucker punch.
There you go. Nikki Bott, what's going on over there? How are you?
Just
Thank you for coming on and giving us the insight
Yeah.
about
Thank you
what's
for
going
having
on.
me.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And by the way, your last name's Bot, right?
Yes.
Hence the number plate.
Yes.
Hot Bot. Right.
Hot Bot.
Hot Bot with some sparkly rhinestones.
Spicy Hot Bot.
Everybody tries to race me in that car, so
They
that's
do?
why. Yeah, that's why I put a pink.
That's good.
License plate.
Do you do one of these? You roll the window down and you take a peek over.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Can I-
I'll
hey,
rev.
listen,
I'll
listen.
rev it, and then like is some Mustang or something next to
Can
me.
I-
I'll just stay back.
Can I share something that's really exciting? So today, I got something new installed on my truck.
Uh-huh.
I got a law enforcement PA system in my truck.
Oh my God.
What is, I don't know.
We can play with it afterwards.
You're going to be on the
That's
crew and be
awesome.
like, hey, you, get out of my way.
I mean, single dad life, you know?
I love it.
That is so crazy. Oh my Lord.
It's to help people.
Absolutely. Guys, we're going to end the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. As Esmeralda said, please hit the like button. I know we went a little bit long. We had a lot of information to talk about today. Thank you guys for the support. We need some subscribers. We're trying to get more people. If this is the first time, please subscribe to our channel. We're going to keep putting out that content. And guys, we'll see you on Saturday. Have a really good guest on Saturday, so hopefully everybody tunes in. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.